The first Sunday of January, 2015. I saw something interesting the other day that this is the year in the movie Back to the Future. Just an interesting, interesting idea there. It just goes to show how time flies, doesn't it? A new set and the same cast. I'm using my imagery this morning around the dramatic theme, theatrical theme. We have been conditioned, those of us in this room, so much by television, so much by that communication and entertainment vehicle. It was an eye to the world for many of us. That black and white, gray flickering that came into our homes, whether it be Walter Cronkite or Brinkley and I even forgot David Brinkley and Huntley and Brinkley. How come we never remember the ABC people? Howard Smith. But those windows of the world touched us, and we became a part of a cultural phenomena that understands what it means for us to be a set. Jackie Gleason, I Love Lucy. All of those sets were changed from time to time. They would move and there would be new implements and new fixtures in the sets, but the cast remains the same. So let's think for a moment about that concept. So here we are in this room. We are the cast. And the set's been changed according to the markings of time. We're now in 2015. We saw 2000. Many of us saw 1970. Many of us saw 1960. So the sets keep changing. The characters keep sort of moving. We have a lot of guests coming and going. We have politicians, we have religious leaders, we have celebrities. But we sort of are the bit players, and we come to our parts. Well, once upon a time in the ancient understandings of humanity, we were given the script. We were given the script. I'm born in upstate New York. I'm a girl. It's 1800. Here's your script. I'm born in Korea, 1910. I'm a boy. Here's your script. I'm born in South Carolina in 1770. I'm black. Here's your script. Those realities have influenced humanity's engagement with time and the human story for a long, long time. And I think it can be argued that somewhere in the last 200, maybe 300 years, so many human beings, especially those in privileged culture, especially of those in the rich cultures, especially those in the exploiter cultures, especially those in the European cultures, had an opportunity to put the script down and start improvising. So now we're in improv. We've been in improv for a long, long time. We're handed a script. Doak was handed a script in 1948. He grew up. He was a good little boy. He listened to Daddy. He was fearful of his whippings. He was scared of Mom. But those things really didn't happen. It was more of an atmosphere of being afraid and doing what was right than the reality of it. And my script portrayed for me to be dutiful, to be a good guy, to like girls, to get decent grades, to find a craft, to be significant, to earn my living, to be responsible. Everybody in this room was handed a similar script. Now, whether we, in our personal lives, in our abilities, in our capacities, could live up to that script is another story. If you're born honestly a gay person, then that script that's handed to you is god-awful to continue with. And the first quality of a noble soul is empathy. And if we cannot understand and appreciate how awkward it is to be seen as must be one thing and inside we're something else, that has got to be an awful curse to live with. So if we are called to love and regard, then we understand how to bless and how to lift and how to appreciate those folks who do not fit the script. So here we are in 2015, and we're improvising the story. And we're sitting down and we're talking about how we're going to craft this plan, how we're going to design our play, how we're going to act out our story for this year and the years to come. And those of us who are in privileged cultures around this world have a heavy, heavy responsibility. Because either we can be leaders of enlightenment and leaders of possibilities, or we can continue as exploiters and the dominators of the world's economy and the world's culture. So we look around and we improvise. And what's our motivation when you act in improv? It is the quality of your own experiences and your own imagination. Well, Unitarian Universalism and folks that travel this path of ours in this free religious faith understand that creativity is going to be the responsibility and the opportunity to save this silly planet called Earth. We've got to look to broader ways of being free and loving and caring and responsible one to another. We've got to see the planet as a living organism, and we are part of it. So the new story that we're playing into calls for a lot of creativity, a lot of courage, a lot of risking. The old economic, the old capitalistic, I don't know what we're going to call it, this old culture of ours that separates and divides has to be looked at and modified. There are changes required. My daddy said to me many things, but he said one thing that I sort of appreciate and I still value. Doak, don't rest on your laurels. There are always new demands. There are always new responsibilities. There's always new requirements calling for your skills and your participation and your best creative response. Whether it be about understanding what a church life could be about, not about arguing about the shape of God or how many angels can dance on the head of a pin, but how to look at a hurting soul and live in that hurt with them and somehow through the magic of caring, lift a little bit of that hurt or share it. It's not about theology. It's not about right and wrong. It's about us living in a world that is hell-bent on destroying itself and saying, oh, wait a minute. Let's rethink this line. Let's rethink this story. Do we really want a battle scene right now? I went to see The Hobbit the other day, just sort of a need to get away. And I left 2/3 in it because it was a god-awful battle scene. And then when I saw earthworms come up, I thought, no, this is not Hobbit as I understand it. It was just that junk that someone feeds us in high-tech grandeur that somehow can keep us in the mess and in the conflict of the negative and the hurtful in life. When are we going to see images again? I'm not talking about saccharine. I'm not talking about fake love. I'm not talking about sweetness, heaven, and all that stuff. I'm talking about the reality of the everyday heroes who stretch themselves a little bit to be kinder and gentler and lift up life a little bit for the rest of us. When are we going to see those things? Are we just going to live in images of dystopia when everything goes to hell in a handbasket? Is that our prophecy? Is that what we're going to be forced to look at? My grandkids, your legacy? We have an opportunity to craft a new story, to look at the script, to find the parts that we're going to play. And we're playing that in front of our ancestors and in front of our descendants. And as the poet said, we have a brief time on this stage, and we strut and carry on, and we express ourselves either as villains, either as whiny little children who want the most out of life and gets the most toys. When they die, they win. There's an option. And also there's a sacrifice of the men and women who went to Selma and other dark places and said, not this anymore. Not this anymore. We will not stand for it. Our heart cannot take it anymore. We cannot push one another against one another as enemies and as foreigners. It has to be brothers and sisters. And when will we hear it? When will we hear it from politicians? When will we hear it from the religious leaders? When will we hear it from the celebrities? To say, this is what we got. We got this precious orb set in the cosmos. We got a fleeting amount of time. Are we going to continue to subscribe to the scripts that are given to us? Are we going to continue to see right as wrong as those who have the gold, as the golden rule, those who have the gold makes the rules? Or are we going to see that the goodness that needs to be applied to the world needs to be applied equally around the world? Same cast, different set, and every year we get a new opportunity. Every day we get a new opportunity. How do we spend our money? How do we spend our time? What do we engage our living in? What's using up our life? If it's for fun and games and getting ourselves peace in our hearts, that's a call. But if it's a divine discontent and seeing the world as it could be and finding those places to work for it, that's another call. Unitarian Universalists face 2015 as everybody else. It's an open slate. There are going to be storms, there are going to be deaths, there are going to be losses, there are going to be joys. It all comes around in a good cycle. It all comes around in a spiral. How we embrace it, how we see it, is informed by the moral center that directs our being. And if that not be about love, if that not be about inclusion, if that not be about justice, then it's a sad thing. And I hate my ancestors seeing me living anything less than that life. And I hate to know that my descendants can look back and say, what a waste that 40, 80 years was. Why not joy and why not hope? And why not a life that says yes to the possibilities that are with us and among us? As I've said to you, my mother helped make the atomic bomb, and I've got someone else's heart in my chest. Now that's technology for you, isn't it? Being able to destroy the world and give life to a dying person. My goodness. So I want to witness to you this morning as a Unitarian Universalist evangelist to say we're on the right side of love. Be patient, be conniving, be willful, be creative in how we express that love. And 2015 will be another year, and we'll find the blessings that we deserve, and we may even find opportunities to be a blessing. May it be so. May it be with us. Am I already quitting? It's too early. No, that's 20 minutes. Oh, well. We'll just have more time to visit with our guests. 318. I extinguish the symbol, but not the reality. You truly carry the light of the world. It can direct you and guide you, make possible discernment when all the world is wrong-headed and blind. Be a loving creature. Be an agent of hope. Renew the world with your touch and your vision. May it be so.